All right, thanks for staying with us. And we are back, and it's still Crossfire with Dapo and Ishoma. We have two gentlemen in the studio with us to join our conversation this morning. We'll be talking about national matters. And anyway, we won't talk about Donald Trump. I won't take you through any story that has to do with Theresa May and maybe Putin in Russia. But we'll try to just, localize our conversation to what is happening in Nigeria. We take it cool on the show because, this is Wazobia Max, and you are watching us on channel 259 on DSTV and our terrestrial platform on UHF 57. And so welcome once again. We have the general himself in the studio, Dipo Olayoku. Nice having you on the show again. Ishoma would have to do the second handshake for me.
No problem.
As we welcome Bengal Itilo to Crossfire this morning.
Okay, so yeah, you're welcome.
All right, quick to acquaint you that Crossfire now, we do trending Thursday, and then we do Feedback Friday. So today we'll just be talking about all the issues that are trending, really. And we have a couple of them, really and truly. And I want us to start on a very lighter note. Gentlemen, what is the big deal about Zuma'S status in Imo State? Big deal. General.
Honestly, I don't know. I must confess. Because, at times, people in government, we don't know what they have in mind.
Okay.
And that is why, as an individual, I look at issues from this perspective of the person doing it. Because I expect that before you can be a governor of a state, you must have passed through some things, some levels of development.
Yeah, you're sounding very sarcastic to me.
No. And if you think, no. Okay. Yes, if you think, no, honestly, I'm saying the truth. Because at times some things might appear stupid to us or foolish, but we don't know where the person is coming from. So if the governor decides to erect the statue of even a chimpanzee or even a monkey, there must be a reason for it.
Do you know what Zuma is going through in South Africa as we speak?
No, Dapo. Aside the issues of corruption which he's facing, we're talking about a country which over time has not done as much to protect the lives of Nigerians in that country. Yet, day in, day out, we're hearing stories of Nigerians being attacked here and there. And
xenophobia is
exactly, and you're making him a hero.
And the man has told you that perhaps it's just a matter of, because they said to whom much is given, much is expected. That maybe that recognition, so to speak, is a way of getting him to say, oh, I owe these people some things or a lot.
Okay.
But having said that, if I'm not talking from my own point of view, because I'm taking myself out of the mind of the governor.
Yeah.
To me, I must confess, to me, I wouldn't say to the governor, Zuma does not represent any model or any issue that should be celebrated. That is from my own standpoint. I wouldn't know where the governor is coming from.
Because it's very sad. He didn't bring the statue of, of Nelson Mandela. And you're bringing
we also have other Nigerian heroes.
Let's even say he has chosen not to patronize any heroes past in Nigeria. We have a lot of heroes
present.
Yes, but even the heroes present, no heroes past, no heroes present. I can understand with an Ambode who just put a statue up in celebration of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who is a prophet of our time, who has affected a lot of lives. A lot of people see sometimes the negativity or the negative side of his activities, his music and all of that, or his lifestyle. But for some of us, he's going to have a place in our heart, especially for many of us who have a very close relationship with him. And we know some of his ideologies. We will just, idolize him almost forever. You understand? So for an Ambode putting a Fela statue is understandable. But for an Okorocha coming with a Zuma statue to Imo State is...
Before Benga comes in, I would have wished you didn't mention the Fela statue. That would have allowed it to just flow. Because there are some people that believe that Fela doesn't represent what you should use as a model. To some people, they have their very good points. Yeah. So that's why I say I would have wished you didn't bring Fela the issue into it. Maybe Bigger can come in now.
Okay, Benga, what's your take? Peradventure, Zuma is aware that anytime soon he's going to go. Maybe his destination is Imo State, and they already spoke.
Or could this also be to bolster business relationships between the South African government and the state of Imo?
And the state?
Maybe.
Okay,
well,
maybe.
Well, I think first thing first, I think it's come to a time where part of the requirement for you to be elected into public office, but there must be a mental evaluation. It's kind of psychometric evaluation.
Professor Lambos suggested this about
many years back. Because of all the absurdities that we see happening in Nigeria.
You just wonder.
I think they should put that. It should be in the Constitution. It should be in the Electoral Act. And should be part of the requirements.
That's if they don't buy their way.
No.
The result of a mental check.
No. Let's even start with that.
Psychiatric hospital.
One day or the other, the result will come out
the
same way. So
gentlemen,
the thing is this.
Gentlemen, let's understand this. For each Nigerian youth who was posted to one part of the country to undergo the compulsory NYSC scheme, we have seen also cases of really alarming medical reports coming for that. Oh, this person has a case of mental this, mental that, something doctored. I mean, just to be able to work a transfer.
Yeah.
So don't you think the possibility of even these individuals with all the money they have amassed in doctoring something?
But you know,
just to get the votes.
when you occupy a political office, you know, truth always has a way of coming out.
Yeah, but then they have immunity for the time they're in office. So what purpose is it?
Let's start from somewhere. So, but the thing is this: I see it as really very, very appalling, because even if you go into South Africa, you've not seen any Nigerian hero that you have the statue put up somewhere or their legacy celebrated.
Exactly.
And so when you see a man, like you rightly said, when you see supposedly intelligent people doing things that are absurd, there is an agenda.
There is.
Is that agenda that people should start looking at? Look at the way South Africans were insulting Nigeria on social media. And some rumors from the grapevine says they're about being given an Igbo, they want to create an Igbo city land in South Africa. Probably that is what the exchange is about. Okay. They want to have a place where they will have a city,
like a settlement.
A settlement that is basically for the Igbos. Probably that's the rumor from the grapevine. So probably that is what is going on for him to applaud the guy, or maybe Zuma is in this place as a place that he can escape to escape from the crisis he has faced all through governance. So, because South Africans are saying they dash him to us.
You know, because the problem here is that we have a Zuma who is actually facing, multiple corruption allegations, and it is not that he has even done well to his people. His people are not even celebrating him.
He's facing a lot of corruption charges.
Exactly, a lot of corruption charges.
But you know what baffles me the most? The people from Anambra State that are quiet on this matter. No serious Imo State, sorry. No serious agitation, no serious mobilization. They are all, I think they love it. They love their governor. And they love those statues.
Oh, okay, that's okay. So we just try to take some of these stories off people's mind. You see, because people think about some of these things when they happen, but they don't get platforms where you can hear people's opinion. I mean, just talk about it. Because I actually have watched a lot of, current affairs issues. People just mentioned it. The story is already dying.
It's dead.
Yes, and people are just feeling that, okay, it has come and it has gone. Okay, it's his state anyway. It's
like
his state, it's the governor,
and
all of that. All right, gentlemen, let's move to serious matters, because, I mean, sometimes it's really very annoying. And when you talk about an issue that is annoying you, the moment you talk about it, you just have a relief, and your comments has actually, assisted.
And with that relief, the matter dies down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I will just join the people who probably just see it as an event, and that it has come and gone and is dead, and that's just it. Now, let's bring a lot of other things to fore, for the sake of our conversation this morning. So many things seems to be happening. We quickly want to take your thoughts on the two meetings that President Muhammadu Buhari attended recently. It was in Turkey. And the idea in Turkey, or the mission in Turkey, was to submit a communique to say we have a good business environment and our economy is fantastic. So every European country can come to Nigeria. It doesn't matter whether Britain wants to exit. we are not exiting. We are, in fact, we want to enter. You know, so if Britain want to go, let them go. Nigeria wants to probably take, you know, its place and all of that. So the president visited. He was in Niger, you know, for another meeting, and I mean that. Very profoundly also, we have a president who actually stood against a one currency in Africa, saying that, no, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we don't believe in this and all of that. So I'm beginning to just wonder, now, President Muhammad Buhari's meetings recently has nothing per se to do with repatriation of Nigerians' looted fund. It has nothing to do with the corruption fight. I think, you know, we seems to be moving on other economic and social matters than whatever is the agenda of the government of the day.
Yes, don't forget that the Turkey meeting has to do with the meetings of D8.
Yes.
You know, there was a time they said we were underdeveloped. I think we are graduating, we have moved to developing. Yeah. Maybe one of these days we'll get to developed. And coincidentally, I'm looking at that meeting from a different perspective, because it was timeless in the sense that, don't forget that, just looking at one of the papers you have on your desk there, talked about one of the intercepted arms illegally imported into Nigeria. You know, since May this year, up till September this year, within a 5-month span, we had intercepted over 2,000 illegal arms illegally imported into Nigeria. And I have had conversations with some army top shots that they said that was about 3 brigades. And you can imagine what a brigade can unleash on a person. 2,621 guns in the hands of wrong people, non-state actor. You can imagine the damage. And interestingly,
we have a nation, you know, we have a
you can pick up arms anywhere. Yes, yes. You can pick up arms anywhere. And you see, and interestingly, or coincidentally, all these shipments came from Turkey. It got so alarming that Nigerians, especially people who work in the port industry, not that it came as a surprise to us, but the surprise was that these things are being intercepted because a lot of arms came to Nigeria before the 2015 elections. It was as if some people were really preparing for the Third World War, as a matter of fact. So I'm looking at it, and then we have got a commitment from the Turkish government that they were going, because the question some of us in the industry have been asking is, it is not possible, no matter how you have concealed, how you have underdeclared, that people at the port will not know when you are loading, that you are coming. And even if, I assume that in the course of when the thing was in transit, because there's something they call the tracking note that tracks the movement of shipment from the point of origin to the point of destination. So there's no way the Turkish could absorb themselves of complicity. But now that they said, okay, this thing is a dent on them, I think I'm looking at it from that perspective. Then from the issue of developing nation, yes, let's just satisfy ourselves and make ourselves happy that we are developing. Maybe at least so we mount.
So that's different.
Let's quickly take your thought. We have more very hot issues to still discuss on the show.
I think it's still a step in the right direction, because you know, Nigerians have been having problem with traveling, business people traveling, traders most especially, traveling to a place like Turkey. And I think being able to achieve some kind of mileage in terms of bilateral relationship in the area of travel, it facilitates the ease of doing business. So which means our traders from this end, a lot of them are more comfortable going to Turkey to have things purchased, looking at the cost of the devaluation of the naira, looking at pounds, euros, and all that. I think a lot of them are finding some soft landing in Turkey. I think the soft landing in terms of visas, issuance of visa for business people, I think it's really a good one. And also, I think having building our foreign policy, I think we are beginning to focus on real issues instead of celebrating mundane issues. Now we are doing about real foreign policy issues. And foreign policy are critical to the development of any nation, of promoting trade, bilateral relations, and facilitating the ease of doing business.
I mean, good step in the right direction.
Good step in the right direction. But for the one on Niger, I don't even know why we will say we don't want a uniform currency. The strength of Europe, the European countries, most of the time, because
it's in the unified currency,
which facilitates trade, movement. For example, if you want to travel from Nigeria from Lagos to Dakar, the cost of the ticket is over 200,000 naira, maybe about 300,000. That's the same, and you will just travel maybe about 3 hours. That's the same cost of ticket traveling from here to London. So if Africans have not come to a place where they can unite on Saturday, the cost of air travel in Africa is even more expensive than going to Europe and America. So if you can achieve that with a universal currency, you will begin to prove yourself to be competitive, even with people in Europe, America, and all over the world. So if, for example, you can go to any African country and you get visa on arrival, or the same currency is being used, look at the strength that you will amass among yourself.
Or ordinarily transacting business between here and the border and the semi-border.
Even Ghana. Ghana has UBA. There's UBA in Nigeria. For you to move funds,
there's Eco Bank in Nigeria.
It's hard for you to move currency, to move money from your own account here to the account in Ghana. You have to go through another means. So if some of these things can be sorted out, you can imagine the boost it will have on economic activities.
But don't you think the president, I mean, if he's standing against it, he probably has some reliable information through this, probably the Central Bank of Nigeria and other monetary agencies in Nigeria that, look, this may not, on the long run, go well for the Nigerian economy and her citizens.
What will not go well for Nigeria? Nigeria is the biggest.
I think the fear should even be the fact that we have one of the biggest economy in Africa.
We have the highest population.
Now, I have a question for both of you. What if the decision is actually to adopt Naira as this unified currency?
How can you adopt a currency that is so weak? The strength of your currency is a function of the power of your export.
Economy,
the power of your export. So why will I use Naira as a basis when you have smaller economies like Rwanda, like Botswana, thriving better than you? So why will you be coming with a Naira? Your Naira is so weak. So your export capacity is so weak.
But if we adopt the Naira, don't you think there's a possibility that it will also strengthen the Naira, especially with our export?
Usually when they adopt a universal currency like that, they always fashion out a separate one. Just like what happened in Europe, where they have the euro. They didn't adopt the British pounds. They didn't adopt the... so usually they come up with a template. But you see, at times when people in government take certain decisions, you know, we are not privy to some of the information at their disposal. Because these guys have a lot of economic advisors in their economic team. They have a Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research Institute. We have Nigerian Institute that deal with some of these things. They must have presented the president with that. Yes, even if you are going to do it, it might not be now. This idea didn't start yesterday. It's been there all along for more than 15, 20 years.
Gaddafi was even pushing
for a united Africa. So maybe the time will still be, but maybe it's not yet ripe for it.
No, I think it's the Western colonialists' way of doing things that we are still locked up with seeing things from the Western perspective. When will Africa sit down amongst themselves and become unified and have their own strength in terms of currency, in terms of how they want to trade, in terms of how they want to do things? Africa needs to wake up. And because when you hear some of these comments are comments that come from people still being controlled by the Western nation. So the more Africa is not united on some of these things, the weaker we become.
Aren't we all not united? I mean, no matter the...
This is a fight between Britain that colonized us, Ghana, and then the Francophones were, you know, France and the likes of them.
Things make us weaker.
The cleavages are still there, so to speak. And interestingly, our colonial masters are fueling it underground. That is why you see issues when they come up, we begin to look at it from the Francophone point of view and then from the Anglophone point of view. But they say once beaten, twice shy. Because the Nigerians and the ECOWAS have been trying to make the certain things very flexible. Look at the free movement within the West African region, and you know the damage it's doing to our security. So those are some of the things that the government could be looking at. Yes, let us tighten some loopholes before we go into these unified issues. And perhaps, because the issue of security must have taught us a lesson. This free movement within West Africa, you can just cross.
I would have thought, you know, like I was saying to a friend, we were just discussing, like, okay, unified currency, is that what we're talking about? We're not talking about, you know, beefing up security in, you know, across all borders. I'm sure they will discuss it, but that didn't make headlines.
It depends on
what
it
depends on what that forum was about.
It depends on what the journalist pick. That's why at times when you pick a
so when you pick a story, it depends on what they might have discussed a lot of items.
Trying to read.
No, they might have discussed a lot of items, and that's what the media sees as sensational.
It depends on
but that's really very sad. We're not even talking about. I mean, we're still talking about terrorist activities. In the main.
That aspect was discussed. The issue of terrorism was discussed.
Yes, I know.
Any forum was always
strengthening our borders, just ensuring that we want to eradicate and finish, not technically this time, but totally. Get rid of the activities of.
But a joint currency can play a factor in these regards.
Exactly, monies in their hands become totally useless.
Currency, a joint pulse, those are some of the things Gaddafi was campaigning about in those days. That look, Africa, let's not stop. For example, he said, let's stop trading in dollars. Let's start trading with the West in gold. Because they are defining the narratives of the strength of your economy by what
it was what killed him.
Yeah.
This thing is part of the things that killed him.
Those are the real issues.
Yes.
Those are the real issues. If I tell you, I want to trade in gold, I don't want to trade in dollars.
The moment they realized that Gaddafi was actually pushing
because the
for
guy
that.
was 20 years, 30 years ahead, and all the other African leaders never saw what he was saying. And we're still right back there. We call ourselves independent, but we are still not free in the way we think.
But now, let's also not forget the fact that, the general made something, a very strong point, which we also need to consider here now. It could also be because as a country, we have not also gotten hinge of some issues. The free movement thing has also negatively impacted us as a country, particularly with security. Look at the herdsmen activities. We have not fully gotten, a grip on that, and we want to push for something bigger. Some Nigerians have also pushed that Nigeria should break away from ECOWAS because, as it's where we have not even gained anything so strong from. I'm talking about the opinion. You look at the UK Brexit move.
Even in terms of trade, Nigerians have also been complaining that we are not getting full advantage.
Exactly.
We are not the one not taking it, but the benefit of this free trade movement, a lot of things happen. So a lot of issues are there that cannot be put on the table for you and I to just see. Are you getting my point? So that's just
I would say in West Africa, looking at from my own perspective from aviation transport, aviation transport, Nigeria is benefiting a lot from trade. In terms of trade around the sub-Saharan West Africa, because you have a lot of movement of goods from Nigeria to most of all these sub-Saharan Western. So there is still some level of benefit. The challenge is this. All the things we are talking about are still involved around policies. Whether you talk about security, free movement, it's still about policies. It's about what kind of policies we evolve around. For example, the herdsman issue. When are we going to wake up and understand that ranches are what people have used all over the world? It's about policies.
It's about policies. All right, we'll quickly go on a short break. I still have these two gentlemen in the studio. We'll be back with more conversation. Stay with us and join us again. All right, thanks for staying with us. We are back and it's still Crossfire with Dakpo and Ishoma. I have the general himself, Dikpo Olayoku, and I have Benga Onitilo. He's an aviation expert. One of these days, we need to talk about, the aviation industry. It's becoming really, really very terrible. And both of you really and truly, he is into, maritime, you are into aviation. We need to really, do something topical and discuss something, about your profession. People just see all of you at political analyst and social commentator. It just look like, these guys, the only thing they know is just politics and all of that. So, we will take advantage of that, one of these days. Now, gentlemen, let's talk. President Muhammadu Buhari signs Northeast Development Commission bill. And the interesting thing, the senator, special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Inang, who made this known, noted that this will tackle poverty and environmental challenges in the Northeast. According to the statement, the Commission will receive and manage funds allocated by the federal government and international donor agencies for the resettlement, rehabilitation, reintegration, and integration, and reconstruction of roads, houses, business premises of victims of insurgency. And this is really very instructive. Now, let's talk about what the president told World Bank. Concentrate on the Northeast. Concentrate on the North. Let's say both the Northeast, the North Central, and the North and the core North. Concentrate there. That is what we want you to do. Do you think, I have asked this question before, but before my next question, do you think this statement was probably made, you know, was a biased statement coming from the president?
No. General. If you look at the context, and we have listened to a lot of people that were present, I read the tweet by the Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. She said she was present when the president made the statement. That what was the essence of the meeting? The president, when he came in, appealed to the international community that because of the devastation that has taken place in the Northeast, arising from the activity of Boko Haram, that there was no way the government of Nigeria alone could rebuild that place. Just like whatever happens, what happens anywhere there is a war or post-war era. And so all the diplomatic shuttles he has been making, he kept on, and he has been receiving support because the world community visited the Northeast. There were at a stage, there were no, up to 10% of the schools standing. A lot of buildings, offices, there was no way the government could have done it. So it was in the against this backdrop that the meeting took place, and there would be, as Ezekwesili said, he was present. It's like the president was telling them, yes, we appreciate this fact, but please, you can shift your focus to that area, not the but, you know, the guy who answered the question thought he was answering a harmless question because you needed to look at the question that the lady asked. But you know, typical of Nigeria, our way, we have a way of twisting issues. But now, coming back to the issue of, did you call it because you can, Northeast Development Company, it's better known as NEDC. And then you remove the E and put D there, we have NDDC. What eventually became of the humongous amount of money that was budgeted? Nothing. Instead, they were using the money to organize Christmas parties. They were using the money to organize a ritual to make sure that rain does not fall. It is the example of whatever happened, any intervention program that the government of Nigeria introduces. It's always a venue for some guys to take their own slice of national cake. Let me just pause a little, but before I then let me refresh our mind when the former governor of Cross River, that's Donald Duke, fantastic guy, said that at times when Nigerian governments create commission or parastatals, Nigerians are very happy. He said as a governor, he was talking from point of experience, that he discovered that he set up a commission in his state, and then he gave them like take-off grant. So he said after some time, they came back to him. He said, what happened? But I gave you a take-off grant. He said, we use the money to hire office, we use the money to buy cars. That is usually what commissions and parastatals or special intervention government agencies are for, just to take care of some boys, not to address the real issues.
That's really very, that's very interesting. Now, Agbenga, the government of Muhammadu Buhari, the government, you know, of the APC led by President Muhammadu Buhari, in recent past, you know, have been under fire. We've had the anti-graft war, you know, which you never believed. In fact, they've not even scratched the surface as far as Gbenga is concerned. We are just playing. So there's no, you know, ongoing anti-graft war or fight against corruption and all of that. Now, another very important thing is that I'm beginning to wonder if this government is actually still in charge. We had an issue that happened a few days ago, and that is the psychedelic installment and, you know, callback of someone that was publicly declared as corrupt. It was the chairman, you know, sitting on the pension commission, and $2 billion was alleged, $2 million was alleged to have disappeared. And it was declared by, you know, the EFCC wanted, and all of that. We all know the story.
Not just the, not just the EFCC, Interpol also.
Yes. Now, I just want to ask, do you think the president, still talking about taking decision-making by this government, do you think that the presidency or the executive arm of government actually took the right decision, considering all the things that has happened to Abdulrasheed Maina? on this allegation?
Well, somebody said something a while back. They said, who is the presidency? And a lot of people took those statements for granted. And Aisha Buhari also came out, talk about jackals, hyenas, talk about a cabal in Aso Rock. What's the name of this man? Bukola Saraki, the Senate president, also said the same thing. And everything coming out each day tells us that we have the president, we have the presidency. Who is actually in charge here? Who is actually controlling the narrative? Because when you see all the principal actors in the matter you are talking about the Ministry of Interior,
exactly,
Attorney General of the Federation, you are talking about the EFCC, who has the Civil Service Commission,
DSS.
You have to talk about DSS, all the principal actors in this matter. They are all under the executive, which the presidency still controls.
Yes.
And you see all of them still not on the same page on this item.
Don't think it was right for the president.
No, for me.
Or the presidency this time. I don't know who sacked Maina.
Who
sacked Maina?
Yes. Two different persons.
Yes, who sacked Maina?
For me, right here and now, Nigerians, you understand that the president or the presidency has no jurisdiction on the matter that has to do with the Civil Service Commission. The only powers the president has to fire anybody has to do with his own appointees, based on Constitution.
Okay.
He cannot come out and issue any utterance that Maina should be fired.
Does that mean Maina is not fired?
No. Maina's issue is a very, very complex one. And Nigerians need to get the whole story right. Because several things are being pushed in the media right now.
Go ahead.
For example, are Nigerians aware that in 2013 there were 2 court judgments that Maina got? One, against the warrant of arrest being pushed out by EFCC since 2013. And EFCC has yet to appeal that. It was through, I think they got it through a magistrate court. He now went and got a submission against EFCC, and the court quashed that warrant of arrest. 2, when Senator Eto committee that sat in 2012 on this matter when they were accusing Maina that Maina stole 195 billion and all that, and they issued instruction that the Civil Service Commission should get him fired, that he has this and that. The court, he got a judgment against that again for him to be reinstated back in his position, and even awarded him penalty damages, 2 million naira.
2 million naira.
So Nigerians are not aware of all that. But you know the sad part is this. The EFCC comes into the media and start pushing narratives by the guy has not been declared guilty. Everything that you see going on are all alleged. Suddenly, EFCC has woken up after how many years to start discovering that he has properties here and there, and they are marking properties all around the place.
Shutting them down.
Shutting them down. So whereas, you know the funny part, the presidential committee or the pension the tax force special committee that was set up, do you know EFCC is a part of that committee? ICPC is a part of it.
DSS.
DSS is a part of the committee. So all these, Ministry of Finance, all these principal actors, they are all part of the committees. And I ask a question today. Why is it that it's only Maina's name that is coming up? Maina, I'm not campaigning for Maina or doing that. I'm just trying to get Nigerians to think and not be sold narratives the media is either pushing or the presidency is pushing or the spokesman of the media. So Nigerians need to get the thoughts right. What is going on here? Maina discovered about 278 billion that was diverted. And we are talking about pensions that has to do with Nigeria Railway, Nigeria Ports Authority, police.
But these monies were tracked.
No, the money
at a point in time, the monies were eventually tracked, and they found out that this money is still sitting in the federal government account.
No, the money was paid into the federal government account at CBN. That was in 2012. Okonjo Iweala is aware of that.
Yes.
Sanusi, the former CBN governor, they are all aware of that. And part of that money was even spent to fund the 2012 budget, about 78 billion out of that money. So now they are claiming he has 195 billion in his account. The guy is not a signatory to any account. He's not in a signatory to any of the pension payments accounts.
Let him go and explain how he got the money in his account. Let him go and explain. He was a civil servant.
Have they shown you evidence that
he was a civil servant? He was a civil servant.
Have they brought out evidence in court to show that there is money in his account?
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way EFCC have access. They know that money is in his account.
EFCC is claiming.
Yes.
But have they proven that in the law court?
But for EFCC to come out and give a figure that have been tracked to his account, it means that money is there.
I won't believe EFCC. That cannot appeal a judgment since 2013.
Okay.
In fact,
yeah, General.
Binga has done the job today. I don't have to say anything.
Okay.
But I must say this as a journalist. I've spent over 25 years in journalism. I am pained at the way Nigerian journalists of today do their job. We are so gullible. We don't do any work. We just publish. And unfortunately, Nigerian that consume in news are so gullible.
It's just hook, line, and sinker. Yes, we don't take the headlines.
That is why some of us get to the corner of our rooms and I weep for this, our profession. I am very sorry to say Nigerian journalism has gone very low. The issue of Maina that Benga has just outlined to us.
Couldn't all this be sponsored also by some detractors?
That's what we're saying.
You see, that is why journalism has taken a nosedive. How do you expect a hunter to become the hunted? I'm not saying Maina is clean. Maina is a civil servant, a real civil servant. And up to today, most of the big properties in Abuja are owned by Nigerian civil servants.
Even in Lagos.
There's no way you can be a director, a deputy director in the Nigerian civil service that will not be a fantastically rich person.
How did they get there? How did they get there is the problem.
No,
my question.
That shows
so
you
if the EFCC or ICPC or whatever institution of government that has been strengthened, constituted and empowered to do their job is coming out, you know.
You can organize another program for that issue of EFCC and ICPC, but you have raised the issue of Maina, and that's exactly what we are trying.
Yes.
Maina came into limelight when the then President Jonathan set up this task force. And interestingly, one of the first things they discovered, the task force, was that the Nigerian Police Pension Board was collecting 1.5 billion naira every year as pension. And they were only paying for $85 million naira.
Can you please pause on
the remaining were being shared by top police officials.
Can we quickly take Mohammed's call from Kaduna? Good morning, Mohammed.
Hello, good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm calling from Kaduna.
Go on
to
and
us.
make your comments.
I actually want to contribute to the issues going on.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, I think I would like to applaud one of our guests for bringing to our knowledge what actually took place. The truth of the matter is that the press has failed in its duty of giving us both sides of the coin. What they did was just victimizing him, telling us that this is what he did, this is what he has not done. But in an actual sense, there are a lot of things that the masses are not aware of. So it is now a must on us, or you, the media, to present to the masses the clear picture of what actually took place, so that we will now judge based on what is presented before us. But as it is now, there is nothing but media trial. That is just the reality.
That's right. That's true, Mohammed. That's why Crossfire is your show. If you want to hear the truth, if you want to know exactly, get updates on these matters, just stay
the guy said
watching the show.
Those guys were only paying 85 million naira as pension to retired police officers.
And the rest,
and they were sharing the rest.
Yes.
Then they said there was a 24 billion naira.
The same thing for Nigerian Railway Corporation.
They said there was a 24 billion naira that they left in the police pool. And those guys were withdrawing the money to the tune of 300 million every day. So he went to the president.
And the issue now, who are these individuals?
That is the point. He went to the president and said, come, this is what is happening. We have recovered 280 billion naira, which they said they lodged in CBN. The president then invited him to a meeting in Nassau Rock, that President Jonathan. He said he briefed the president as to what was happening. On his way back home, they fired this guy. They wanted to kill him. Interestingly, he sent a message to the then IGP that my life is in danger. And you see, unfortunately, he was the one that has exposed the rot in police. And I'm not accusing the police, and you expect the police to cover him. That was why they advised the guy
to use a cat to watch the meat.
The guy was suspended from civil service, not because he stole money. He was suspended because he absconded. The same thing they did to Nuhu Ribadu. When Uhuru was humiliated, and at the stage he noticed that his life was in danger, he ran out of the country. So when he came back, President Jonathan and the Police Service Commission looked at his case and reinstated him. But the problem that they made in the case of Maina is that there's no cohesion within the government agencies of President Jonathan.
So could it be that there is a bigger cover-up somewhere?
There's a bigger conspiracy. But what I'm saying beyond Maina.
Yes, there is a judgment that Maina should be reinstated. But since EFCC had declared him wanted, they should have obtained clearance from EFCC. That is where the president needs to act. There's a big rivalry between the EFCC and the Ministry of Justice. And the people
even DSS.
And DSS.
Can we take this call from Glorious, calling from Lagos? Good morning, Glorious.
Hello, Glorious.
Good morning.
Good morning, Glorious. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, you people are doing a good job.
Thank
But
you.
some of our commentators, especially the man sitting near to that lady, I wonder the way he's talking. You see, it is only God can save Nigeria. The way I believe in Nigeria, one nation, one destiny. That's enough for you and I. The president has power to dismiss anybody summarily.
He doesn't.
Do you understand me? By now, what Maina has done is fact. It's out of context. But that was sitting to the lady. I want to ask you whether it's a lawyer. Is it in for Maina? That is the question I'm asking. And number two, Nigerian journalists are let down. They are part of our problem. Except Nigerian journalists hold themselves of all these biased statements they are making. They just jump to the press. They jump to the top. Giving or substantiated stories.
Thank you very much, Glorious. I mean, very gloriously said.
I'm not holding brief for big guys.
I need Maina to clear it by himself. You know, you already said it that you are not holding brief
I've
for
already
Maina.
said earlier, the purpose of programs like this is to help Nigerians think, not to help you to take a position. When we come on forums like this, we give out facts. And depending on where your prejudices lie, you can say, no, this person is for Maina. You can say, no, that person is against Maina. No,
It's an
we
opinion.
are presenting a fact that you don't have access to you. So what you need to do is go and do your research. The research is online. So if you are saying somebody is driving a narrative, and you are saying the president has the power to fire anybody, I will ask you, is this an oligarchy, a military dictatorship, or a democracy?
What does the rule of law
Under
say?
a democracy, there's separation of duty, there's jurisdiction. A president has no power to fire anybody. I will say it again. In the civil service, it's only the Civil Service Commission.
The best he could have done was what he did. Give me a report why you reinstated, why he was reinstated.
The presidency.
Yes.
Now,
The presidency.
Presidency has the president.
I need you guys to be very clear here. Don't confuse me. Don't confuse. Who
is the presidency?
Who fired Maina? Is it the presidency or the president?
No. The presidency came out the following day and explained
where they meant.
What the president only said was that they should activate the process, that they are giving the Civil Service Commission
an instruction,
which they must.
That's the problem we have in this democracy.
Okay.
We have institutions that are not fully autonomous and independent. The institutions are controlled, manipulated by the politicians. And that's why narratives are always mixed up. If the institutions are really functioning, they are really independent, they are really empowered, it's the end of the civil service that will be speaking on this matter.
That's true.
Not the president, not anybody from the presidency. But because we run
from what you guys have said and the information that is available in the public domain, it simply means the reinstatement of Maina was not wrong.
No, it wasn't.
It was just not wrong.
The only problem was that they should have obtained clearance.
They should have at least consulted with the EFCC, DSS.
No.
In case you have something.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
What Malami did was that he gave the head of the Civil Service Commission, when he got that letter, they spoke with the person that is supposed to be the custodian of our laws, who is the Attorney General. And he reviewed everything. And the guy gave an advisory. So people are still telling the guy is a devil, is a thief, is one of them. No. He gave an advisory based on court judgments that are still pending, which EFCC has not. So if somebody is saying, go and talk to EFCC, talk to EFCC on what? When EFCC refused to appeal a judgment since 2013. The Civil Service Commission also refused to do an appeal against the judgment since 2013. So, if people are now saying there is no right for him to be reinstated, on what premise?
Okay.
Has anybody gone to courts to challenge that judgment?
Exactly.
For that to now be saying, no, the guy cannot. So, if the courts can even award him judgment against his employers, for them to pay him 2 million.
So obviously,
but you know that
this is trending. It doesn't end here.
The risk is this, that more. If what the presidency says still goes on, that they should fire him, the guy still has the power to go to the court again and challenge that.
Okay.
That's what we don't understand. We must.
In the first instance, constitutionally, the president does not even have
a jurisdiction.
But why should? I mean, anyway, we talk about the constitution, and I just wonder if we have one. Because we have been talking about amendments and stuff.
People want us to suspend the constitution when it comes to the president or the president.
All right, let's
get confused or
no, our time is up. Let's just take your last thought on this.
Because
we have to go.
Yes, I think my last thought would be an appeal to Nigerian media.
Okay.
We owe it a responsibility to not only to educate, or to inform, rather we should educate and inform. I think we should take the practice of journalism, let us bring it up.
Let's take it back to where it used to be. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. This is how far we can go on the show. We'll be back tomorrow.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.